Hey guys, how's it going? Make sure everything's working okay. Should I post a comment in the chat? Cool. And just share it because you know I've got to, right? Story. Come on. Cool. That's just posted. Sweet. How are we all doing? I hope we're all keeping safe and not pulling our hairs out of boredom with the lockdown. How many weeks has it been now? I don't even know how many weeks it's been now. Like it feels like forever already. It's about a month, right? But I don't know. Feels like it's been so long. Okay, so I attempted this yesterday and ran into an absolute load of tech issues. Mostly due to me not preparing properly, so that was a lesson learned. The reason why this stream is almost an hour later today than what I said it would be is because I've been making sure that doesn't happen again. So I've actually preloaded everything into Logic and checked it to make sure that all the timing is consistent. It was bizarre. So when I exported the multi-tracks from Logic to use yesterday, I did it the way I always do it. I, highlighted the tracks I needed to export, clicked export so many tracks. I think it's like 50 something tracks. Clicked export tracks, set everything accordingly, turning processing off, so I'm starting from scratch. And away we go. And usually that's fine. Yesterday, for some reason, it wasn't. It seemed to export every single track from a different start point. So nothing was in time with each other, nothing was in phase. And it was just a big old mess. And there was no way I would have been able to fix it on the stream or even at all, really. The only way of getting around it was to re-export it all. But with a track that size, it's a good 10-15 minute job just waiting for it to export everything. And then obviously testing it, setting it all up again, like it would have been way too late. Arguably, it's probably about the same time now as it would have been yesterday, but I can't really not do this. So it just needs to get done. So anyway, here we are. Everything has been exported. I've loaded it into Logic. So instead of dragging it into Logic on the stream, I'll just sort of go through each track and just sort of unmute them and show them off here and there. Right, okay. So let's sort of recap from yesterday then for those of you that saw it, or for those of you that didn't see it, or hear it, shall we say. Let's listen to the track that we're working on this week, which is Coalesce by Chiasmata. And bear with me one moment, it's being a bit daft, as always. Right, okay, so here we are. This is Coalesce by Chiasmata. Guys, please tell me if I'm saying that song name wrong, because I don't want to mess your shit up. Those tails at the end go on forever. How sick are those solos? Like, these guys can fucking play. Hey, why is it playing? I thought I'd killed the queue, but apparently not. Exactly what I was trying to prevent by going into the queue and killing everything. Anyway, yeah, so that was Coalesce by Chiasmata. 2018. Man, doesn't feel like it was 2 years ago. Time goes quick, eh? Cool, so let's have a look at the multi-tracks for that then. So, like I said, I've loaded them all into Logic already. And as you can see, there's quite a lot going on. So we've got all of our drum tracks up here. We've got 4 tracks of bass, 4 tracks of rhythm guitars, which are double tracks but with 2 amps each side. Fair stack of lead guitars, some of which are double tracks. So it's like these are double tracks, these are double tracks, and then these are just sort of various other bits. There's sort of 2 main vocals and then a few vocal effect kind of bits. Some backing vocals and harmonies, and then there's these 12 tracks of gang vocals here for that that sort of break section. Which proves to be quite an interesting stack, and then there's a few synths as well and sub drops. Cool. So yeah, that's quite a few tracks, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look and see what we've got here. For some reason that's not in the right place. It said everything was right, but then it wasn't. Okay, so pretty standard, I guess, in terms of drum recording. So it's kick in, kick out. I can't remember what mics I used for everything. I think for this it was the standard beta 91 inside and a beta 52 outside, or it might have even been the big Sennheiser E604, I think it is, on the kick out mic. Snares. This is where I noticed everything was wrong yesterday, so I'm glad it's not wrong now. So snare top, got a beta 57 hypercardioid and a Octava MK012 hypercardioid. Aligned together, obviously both using hypercardioid capsules, so they're both very sort of focused, set to reject the toms and the hi-hats. If you angle it just right, you can get quite a nice rejection on it. So that was what I went for there. Snare bottom, I believe, was a Sennheiser MD441. Sort of pointed off axis to the snare wires. Yeah, let's do that. This was the first ever project that I used tom top and bottom mics on. Here's quite a bit, I believe. So it'll be fun to tackle. Sounds like a bit of resonance in the floor tom as well. So that will need some sort of gating, some sort of control to tame that. But yeah, top and bottoms, I'm pretty sure it was rack top. The rack tops were MD421s and the floor top was a SM7B, I think. And then the bottoms of all of these would have been small Sennheiser clip mics in their E602s or something. Small sort of clip-on mics. Again, that was a tip from Chris over at Noise Boy. And I've used it ever since, but it sounds great. Cool overheads, nothing too fancy. Spaced pair of Aston Spirits over the kit. Sort of equidistance from the snare, sort of making the snare and the kick drum the centre of the image. And then sort of panning out there to give an overall image of the kit. Room left and right, I believe, would have been my ribbons, my SE Electronics R1 ribbons with probably fat heads as well. Yep, probably like a sort of Bloomline pair. take off just like figure 8. And then this mono room mic as well, which I can't remember what that was. I want to say it was probably a U87 paired up with the balloon line. It was something I used to do quite a lot. So I'd have the balloon line sort of facing like in across like a balloon line, right? And then I put a U87 facing down the middle of it to give sort of a 5.1 boom. Yeah, if you sort of flip the phase right, you can sort of coerce a 5.1 out of it. Just something I sort of picked up from the MSC. Did quite a cool paper on that. It's quite interesting, sort of faking surround sound. So drums as a whole, there's quite a lot of lead going on. There's quite a lot of resonance and toms going on, but that's the raw drum sound that was captured. Can't remember if there was any sort of processing on the way in. It's entirely possible that I was EQing things on the desk on the way in. Yeah. These recorded over a noise board, and Chris has got quite a nice Alan Heath desk there with quite a nice EQ on it, so that would have probably been used on the way in. Some nice preamps, there was the API 3124 preamps for, I think, probably kick and snares, and there's some Neve 1073 clones which I think I used for the overheads. And then everything else was the Alan Heath desk. Cool. So drums is the only thing that we recorded, that I recorded with the band, shall we say, and everything else they sort of self-recorded at, I think it was at Alex's house, at the guitarist's. Just sort of self-recorded vocals, guitar, bass DIs. Yeah, so I received a bass DI from them, which is, it sounds like this. I'm just gonna mute the drums. A bit louder for you. There's not a whole lot going on with the bass DI. It's pretty straightforward DI, I suppose. Yeah, there's no sort of effects processing or anything on it. It's bone dry, of course. It's a DI. Sounds like there's a little bit of preamp distortion on it. I'm not sure what preamp they used for it. It's probably just running quite a hot level going into it. But it's nothing problematic, and as you can see from the waveform, it's not clipped or anything. So from there on, I reamped that into these 3 tracks here, which would have been done on with the Kemper. So we've got this bass grit track, which would have been a Dark Glass B7K, which I feel would sort of give it more of the sort of bright top end that I felt the DI was lacking. There was then the Reaper Pandemonium Overdrive, which I ran through that as well as a sort of other option. As you can see, it's very hot. I think you may have clips there on this part. That just sort of injects a bit of brightness back into the DI as well. And then there's this track where I ran it into I think a diesel VH4 on the Kemper. Just to give it a bit of grit and a bit of top end distortion. In hindsight, I could have probably gone a bit further with that and distorted it more, made it a bit harsher, a bit more aggressive, but hey, I was still getting used to dialing in decent bass tones back then, so it'll do. I don't think I'll reamp it again for the mix on Thursday, but I may experiment with some amp sims and some distortion plugins to sort of bring that to life a bit more. Cool, so that's the bass. Moving on to guitars. Just mute all these. Okay, so guitars. Mostly double tracked. And there's just various bits where, like here, for example, where it's quad tracked. Now this is what Alex sent me. So he sent me the eyes as well, just in case anything needed reamping. But I'm pretty sure these are the tones that he sent me, and they're more than fine. And I believe he used his EVH 51.3 into a 2 notes torpedo with a Maxon OD 808 possibly, or he might have even had the precision drive by then. Yeah, it's just like an overdriven 5153 into a cab sim basically, and yeah, it sounds great. It's nice and clear. It's got a nice bit of thickness to it, a nice bit of aggression, but it's not overly harsh. It's just a decent guitar tone. And there's these bits here as well. I mean, really, this should probably be on the lead tracks. I may end up putting it, moving it. What else have we got? Bits of 8-string. It's a different tone there as well. That sounds like it might have been the Laney Ironheart at that point. But I think some of the quads are Laney Ironhearts. But that sounds like the 5150. So I may end up cutting bits out from this and splitting them onto different tracks, just so I can process these tones differently, without having to mess around with automation and stuff later on. Okay, rhythm guitars sound pretty cool, right? Okay, lead guitars, what we got? So these look like double tracks. One left, one right. Nice sort of stereo tremolo picky thing, double tracked. Bit more of that later on. And then some cool sort of chordal stuff later on as well. On these tracks here, some more nice lead parts. And there's that end melody there that's double tracked, which in the mix that went out, I just sort of automated a rather large reverb and delay onto that and made it sort of fade away, which was pretty cool. This sounds like Ebo, which is really sort of like ethereal, kind of Strymon big sky stuff. It's like a cool texture thing to have in the background. More lead guitars, more tremolo pick lead guitars. That's pretty sweet. What are these? Let's have a look. That's going to need turning up. Cool little tappy lead part there. Nice. God, I keep hitting the wrong buttons. Oh, Calem's solo. Yeah, this is killer. You can seriously play. I mean, as loud as possible for you. That dude is sick. Like, he's seriously good. And there's that little bit at the end there that's doubled as well. It's like a nice little harmony with himself, which is pretty sweet. What else have we got? And then there's just this bit here as well, which is like a double for this tapping bit. That's pretty cool. Okay, that's all the guitars. What else have we got? Let's just mute all these again. Mute it there. There we go. Okay, vocals. There's quite a lot going on with the vocals. So there's these verse vocals here, and I've separated into chorus vocals here. Main reason for that is I just like it just gives me a bit more control over how I process them in the mix for different sections. So I can end up working out pretty cool. And these are completely dry. A lot of people get a bit surprised hearing like really clean, dry vocals. I don't expect them to sound like that. Like there's a lot of changes in volume, a lot of changes in sort of in dynamic, and they almost don't sound natural without reverb, because we're so used to hearing the sound of people's voice in a room and with reflections. And then in music as well, we're so used to hearing vocals now being, you know, super compressed and processed with reverbs and delays and, you know, various other effects, that when you hear a dry vocal like this, people's sort of initial reaction is to go, "Oh, that's not very good." But actually, no, that's what a good vocal, that's a good vocal recording and a good vocal performance, and that's what vocals sound like before people like me get our hands on them and attack them with various bits of processing. So yeah, this is what a vocal should sound like. It's a great take. There's been no pitch correction on these. Don't need it. Like, Zoe is a trained vocalist. Like, you know, she was on the same degree as me, but I think the year below me. We worked together a bit at Salford. Yeah, she's a trained vocalist. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she can hit. She's got a great range, and she can hit the notes that she wants to hit. I don't need to get involved and start attacking on Melodyne. It's a pretty perfect performance. And knowing her as well, she would have like forced herself to get the best form she could, because she's a perfectionist, and that's a great thing, I think.
Voices trapped inside of me. I know I got
There's the chorus.
in my bones of another day. And all these people now, these voices trapped inside of me. Yeah.
Again,
Sounds
great. I don't need to get involved and pitch correct anything, which is nice. It's not always a luxury that we get, so I'll enjoy that. And then there's these various other sections here that were sort of intended as being processed as effects, I suppose. For now, they're dry. There's a nice little cadence on the vocal there. And there's these bits which support this up here. It's nice little doubles. Pretty cool. There's this section here. Now, I'm pretty sure this section here has got a bit of processing already on it. Yeah. Printed these effects to it simply because me and Zoe sort of sat down and worked out how we wanted this bit to sound, what sort of processing we wanted on this, and what would suit the song best. So this is actually a double of this first vocal part up here, but treated with shimmer and possibly some other reverbs and delays as well. Just sort of give it that massive kind of ethereal texture, I suppose, at that point. And there's this bit at the end. I think this bit at the end is dry. No, it's not. Again, just sort of massive, you know, singing into the well kind of vocals. Just huge cave-like sounds. Cool. And then this bit here, I labeled TBT. I guess processing is a bit similar to the shimmer track, except there's less shimmer and more actual reverb. So there's less actual pitch manipulation going on with it. Less octave shifting and stuff like that. Just a big vocal. And again, that was something that me and Zoe sat down and sort of worked out in the studio. So, you know, why not stick to it? Like, why try and change it now 2 years after the fact? Like, there's no point. I may as well just keep it as is. Shuffle these round because that happens first. Okay, so vocal harmonies on this track. More of these. I don't know why that one's by itself. There's some more here as well. Yeah, there's quite a few harmonies going on with this one. There's more of that. don't think there's anything else on this track. I'm not sure why it's going all the way to the end there. I think we can just trim that down. Or I'd love to, but it's being daft. Okay, just chop that off. There we go. Okay, and then there's these gang vocals. I'm just going to unmute all these at once because why the hell not? Just solo the lot. Yes, there's 12 gang vocals. It's pretty mad. It's almost like a Gregorian chant as well. It's pretty cool.
Memory of the breaths I took in water. Forgive us now. Pain is only temporary. What hurts is the memory of the breaths I took in water.
So yeah, pretty cool. 12 of them. All just doing the same thing, just to sort of get a bit of size and a bit of difference. I may end up grouping those into sort of pairs and then pitch shifting them around. We'll see. See how we get on for time. I mean, it'd be cool to sort of work out what key that's in and then get some software to. I'm pretty sure the isotope stuff can do it. But get some stuff to sort of smart harmonize it by an interval. So shift someone up a fifth, shift someone up a third, maybe even chuck a seventh in there as well, and just sort of get it smart pitch shift. That could be pretty cool. Or I could just leave it as it is and just make it sound massive. Make it sound like a bunch of dudes chanting in a pub or something. Sounds pretty cool. Or a monastery, probably a bit more setting, isn't it? A bit more fitting than a pub. You can tell lockdown's getting too much. I want to go to the pub. Right, synths. I don't know why they're at the top because these happen first. Everything's in a bit of a weird order, which I've only got myself to blame for that. So there's these synths at the beginning. And if you listen to the tracks on Spotify, you'll hear as well that these sort of transition it from the previous song, which ends on some pretty cool synthy notes. It's just layering of three synths to create a sort of like ethereal, contortionist-y pad. Always reminds me of that section at the end of that Rush track. Which one is it? Oh god, it's gonna drive me mad now. Cygnus Part 1 on Failed Kings. At the end of that, it's dead similar synth-wise. It's probably what I was listening to a lot of at the time when I dialed those synth patches in. But the band liked it, so we kept it. That's cool. Right, sub drops, pretty standard. Let's turn that up. It's gonna be fun sitting these into the mix. A little good sub drop, can't go wrong. So I'll have fun setting those into the mix. They're not just clean like sine waves either. I think I used triangle waves for it, so there's a bit of like a sort of gritty, distorted edge to it, which just helps blend it in with the distorted guitars. In the same way that distorting bass helps blend that in. So hopefully that will come together nicely. Okay, and there's these synths that happen sort of midway in the track. Try to turn these up a bit, they're really quiet. So yeah, they're pretty cool. I think that was matching one of the vocal parts. I think that's where that sort of harmony came from. Yeah, I believe it was this part up here. Yeah. That's loosely sort of following that vocal part and giving that a bit of space and dimension. Cool. Okay, so that is all the tracks. Unmixed, it's going to sound like complete and utter chaos, but let's hear it anyway. Yeah, completely unmixed. That's how it sounds. So obviously there's quite a lot going on. There's quite a lot that needs to be addressed and tweaked to fit. So it's gonna be quite a fun challenge to try and tackle that inside of 3 hours. I think this is the most going on in the track so far. I think it's just a few tracks more than the Calibra one from last week. So that should it should be pretty fun to approach that. Cool. I hope this has actually been enjoyable to watch. Any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. I'm sure I'll see it. I'll address it in the next video if you have got anything to add. Post some links to Chuck Chiasmata, some support in the description, so you can check them out on Spotify, on Bandcamp, and I've put a link to their Big Cartel page as well if you feel like buying yourself some new t-shirts. They've got some pretty great designs going on. Yeah, I guess that's all from me, guys. Okay, so Thursday 4 o'clock I'll be mixing this. Usually it's about a 4-hour deal, but I'll be splitting it into about 4 chunks and reposting onto Instagram as well. As always, this is rewatchable on here and on YouTube. The links for those are in descriptions on my channels. Yeah, so if you miss the stream on Thursday, you can rewatch it anytime. Cool, I guess that's all from me. Take care of yourselves, guys, and I'll hopefully see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.